feast day of Saint Cecilia, let us spend some time with today's Gospel and the spirit of the feast. As our illustration shows, Saint Cecilia is a patron saint of church music. In a wider sense, she's a patron saint of beautifying the liturgy, divine worship itself. We are celebrating through her the great gift of harmony. Harmony which we enjoy in our personal lives, in the rhythm of the health of our body, and in our church community, how the church year is changing and reveals God's revelation to us in an equilibrium, in a harmony. It's a dynamic tension, beauty based on tension. We particularly cherish the charisma of Saint Cecilia. In a world which is torn by conflicts, with the inability to understand others, when political systems, including democracies, are just seem to falling apart. And perhaps on this feast we could think sensitively, almost in the line of Plato, not in line of with critique of the democracy, of the demos, of ancient Athens, but in terms of our relationship to that harmony, that love which God offers us. God embraces everyone and offers redemption to every cultural situation, particularly when a community is in crisis. This is unconditional love. God is always waiting for us. And I think our communities, the way in which we govern ourselves as a culture, our democracies or kingdoms, republics, should be imbued and penetrated by this constant offer that we are being loved. We are enabled to serve the common good in harmony. But it doesn't happen. Why? We don't know the answer, but it would be so wonderful and reassuring to find it. But it seems that the way in which our Western cultures govern themselves, Western civilization itself, there is something seriously distorted. There's a built-in problem in the system, perhaps. And when our world is on the verge of nuclear war, at least being stuck in a permanent war rhetoric, it's very important to look into the mirror of this divine harmony and unconditional love. For me, as a personal opinion, it seems that our Western democracies, which were actually born out of a bloody revolution in France, there is an inbuilt handicap. When it is triggered out, it seems there is no way of stopping or becoming and entering a more decadent phase of shared life. The cycle in democracies, something has been corrupted have become corrupted in the past few decades. Democracy is like pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy, when children are not waited on in love. When the mother or the father are frustrated, they are not waiting for the child. They didn't want to have that child. And even if they keep the baby and don't abort it, it affects the personality, the gifts, the abilities to connect of that young child, that fetus, for good. What we see in our democracies, and just from the point of view of a religious citizen, that parties are changing. One party is voted out. They have a good program, bad program, most probably their program fails, they are voted out of power. Then comes the new party with a new promise, often with a totally opposing policy with the previous one. Just see the dialogue of the dispute between the governments and their opposition. A is responded by minus A. So the programs of these parties are like unwanted children. They got refused in every 4 years. And somehow, if we could model this distorted face, this ill face of democracy, no wonder that parties, after 3 or 4 cycles, undergoing refusal, programs are undergoing refusal, and those who voted for those who have the minority, their refusal, somehow in the long run, spiritually, it confuses us. So it seems that democracy in the present phase erases or damages our relationship to absolute values, to categorical imperatives like do not war, do not kill, do not steal, do not colonize. So it is so important to draw on saints like Saint Cecilia, whose charisma as a patron saint of church music, that we are invited back to contemplate harmony and to recover these moral and categorical imperatives in our societies and in political systems that serve the common good of your people. Love your neighbor and love God as your neighbor, just to reverse and put it in terms of the path of our being healed and return to our divine centers. So let us pray that our politicians somehow might recognize the categorical imperative of preserving life and being ready to compromise in order to put the arms, the weaponry down and stop killing living bodies and wounding for good living souls.